Okay, so as promised, I'm gonna walk through how I would answer this discussion. And so I just made this prompt based on the chart that I gave you in class. And I screenshot the chart from the second class and I put it on my other screen here so I can see what your answers were to help me write it down. So this chart is going to be in the email that I send you out with this video link, and the chart and the video link will be in the class announcements as well. And so what you're seeing on your board here, this is just my tablet. I work better writing my answers down and then turning it into a typed paper or paragraph. So that's just how I'm going to do it and walk you through it. As a reminder, this is due on the 13th by 11:30 p.m. So I have that written up there just so I don't forget. What is his quest? Everybody agrees that his quest is, sorry about that, his quest is to get Daisy back, right? So he just wants Daisy back in his life. So that's his quest. And then an example is he has, some people said, he has Nick bring Daisy over. So he has Nick bring Daisy over to his house, to Nick's house. Okay. Is it noble? In the second class, most people said no because she was married, and she was married and had a life already, so it wasn't noble because he was trying to take a married lady. So that's what most people in the other class said. So we're gonna say no. Example: already married with a kid. Okay, and then the methods what methods did he use? Some people's examples were I'm looking at your notes here. So through parties. He throws parties. And then there was lots of drinking and dancing at those parties. And then other examples were he uses his friends, such as Nick, to get her back, to reunite. Uses his friends, and then the example is he has Nick bring Daisy over. So again, that's another example of how he used him. Other examples people put was that he pitted a husband against the wife, and tried to get the wife to admit that she never loved him. So that was another example. And then, is that noble? Most people said no, because he was lying and tricking people, and using people to get what he wanted. So this is what most people said for their answers in the chart. So then you're going to take this and you're going to make it into a paragraph or two. I'm going to try to use just a paragraph. And there were some quotes and examples on the chart that I'm going to use simply because that was what you guys provided with me. Provided me with, sorry. So the paragraph, your response would be, what is Gatsby's quest? So Gatsby's quest is to get Daisy back in his life. Okay. And then you got to find examples from the story to show how he's getting her back in his life. So he buys an expensive house across the lake from her. He throws parties. So let's see. We just said this one. Some of the methods. I'm going to mention some of the methods here just so we can show that his quest is to get Daisy back. So he throws parties with drinking and dancing to get her back and get her attention. Throws parties, hoping she'll come. Hoping she comes. And uses his friends to reunite. Them, sorry. Okay, and then is it noble? Why or why not? So most people said no, so we'll say no. She was already married. It was not noble. Already married. And the methods he used were not noble because he lied and used people. Used people, so I'm gonna just go like this so you can see what I'm writing. Lied and used people. And then you're gonna have to use a example. Trying to use different examples. And so he was lying and using people, and so he calls up Miss Baker and he says Gatsby doesn't want her to know. You're just supposed to invite her to tea, right? So Gatsby's kind of lying, cheating, dancing around the topic. Doesn't want her to know that he is going to show up. So you could use that quote as an example in here. So you would say an example of using people is when he has, let me see if I can go down a little bit more. Yep. Switch over to this one. There we go. Sorry, I just needed some more space to write here. So an example of him using someone is when he has Nick invite her over, even though Nick is uncomfortable with it. And manipulates Daisy by not telling her that Gatsby will be there. And then I would insert the quote. Gatsby doesn't want her to know. You're just supposed to invite her to tea. And that occurred, let me undo, and that is on page 79, period. Okay, so for my answer then, what I have is Gatsby's quest is to get Daisy back in his life. He buys a house across the water to be near her, throws parties hoping she comes, and uses friends to reunite them. It was not noble because she was already married, and the methods were not noble because he lied and used people. An example of using someone is when he has Nick invite Daisy over and manipulates Daisy by not telling her that Gatsby will be there. And then I give the quote, Gatsby doesn't want her to know, you're just supposed to invite her to tea. So, looking back at the question, what is his quest? We did that. Is it a noble one? I said no. I gave examples where he was manipulating and lying. Are the methods he used to meet his goals noble? Why or why not? And I said no and gave examples. And I used a specific example from the text using the quote. So that would be a quick one paragraph. It took me 11 minutes to write my response. I would then type that up and turn that in, and then I would respond to 2 classmates. So if you remember, it's due on the 13th, 1/13, and then you need to write 1 post, which is what I just did, and then you need to have 2 comments on another classmate's posts. Okay? Hopefully that helped you. Obviously, don't take my paragraph, but you can use it and as an example, as a jumping off point. Find your own quote, find your own stuff like that, but I just wanted to use an example to show you how you can write your discussion. Have a good one.